So I touched lightly on a couple of them. One, the way we breed and train dogs has changed in the last 40 years, 30 to 40 years, right? And so the old style German Shepherd, the German Shepherd's breed test in Germany has for close to 100, more than 100 years now, been what was originally called Schutzhund, then it was IPO, and now it's IGP. But anyway, it's a sport. Then it originally was not a sport, it was a breed test, and it has 3 phases. It has a tracking phase, it has an obedience phase, and it has a protection phase. And the way for most of dog history those dogs were trained, they didn't use rewards and obedience. They didn't use toys. They went out and made obedience, right? So the dogs healed and did all these things out of obligation. And the way we develop dogs in protection work now is different too. We do lots of prey work when they're young. We wave rags around and we do lots of biting games. The way they used to do it 40 years ago is they waited till the dog was 1.5 years or so old, they brought it out, they whacked it with a stick, and if it tried to bite you, it was a good dog, right? So there was a very different, they brought the dogs out by threatening them and making them defend themselves, right? A very different kind of paradigm. As IPO evolved, Schutzhund evolved from a breed test to more of a sport, and it started to change, training methods changed, and we realized we could manipulate dogs into different pictures by training differently, and people started to use rewards and toys and do more prey stuff. So the dogs that were really motivated to chase and had a lot of prey drive and were easier to make the obedience we wanted, were easier to create bite work the way we wanted without stress. And so a different kind of dog has evolved over the last 30 years in working German Shepherds. They have much more prey drive, huge amounts of prey drive. Right? They frustrate easily because it makes them easy to get them to bark in the protection work, because most people make barking out of frustration now instead of out of aggression. And there's a lot of things like that. So the breeding program sort of changed as a result, right? And still, even in German Shepherd world, the dogs that get the most breedings are the ones that are the most successful in those disciplines. And so those training systems are still the modern German Shepherd trainers even, they don't like a sensitive dog, so there's because they're going to put a lot of pressure on them training, like a dog with a lot of motivation and that's not very sensitive, right? And so the dogs that get a lot of breedings are dogs that handle pressure really well. You're not going to just say no bad doggy and they're going to quit. They're going to need some pressure put on them. They have lots and lots of prey drive and that kind of thing. So now fast forward, these dogs are winding up in pet homes and regular people's homes. Like, I've always wanted a German Shepherd, I love the breed, I want a German Shepherd. The other thing is, traditionally, the dogs didn't go out in public a lot when they were puppies. I mentioned this, right? We realized only in the last 20 to 25 years that early puppy stuff was important. Traditionally, people threw the dogs in a kennel until they were 1 year old, and then they brought them out and started training them. But up until then, it's not carting them around to the Safeway and walking around the parking lot and going to the farmer's market. None of that stuff was happening, right? And so now we realize the value of early socialization and lots of reward-based trainers saying, no, you can't, don't correct your puppy, put your puppy on a harness, walk your puppy around, use food, all this kind of stuff, which is, there's lots of good things about that. But as a result, you're putting dogs in situations they haven't been in. They don't understand what no means at all, right? They've never had a pressure put on them. People are walking them on harnesses, and they're doing reward-based stuff with them, which is making them kind of pushy and intense. And so now you take this combination of traits. Some average person walking their German Shepherd puppy down the street on a harness, not paying attention to what the German Shepherd's paying attention to. It sees a skateboarder go down the opposite side of the street, and they let it watch it. You're holding it on a harness, it goes, next thing you know, it's barking. The more it barks, the more it says, hey, this barking thing's fun, right? We talked about internal reinforcement, that kind of thing. People try to stop it. Of course, they're not training with pressure, so they're poking their puppy and trying to give it food, and this German Shepherd's like, yeah, whatever, right? You can poke me all you want, like I'm gonna kill the skateboarder. Or, like I mentioned before, young Shepherds and young working type dogs, their response, if they're nervous, is also to be forward, right? So different dogs have a different response to nervousness or stress. And working type dogs, they're more likely to be aggressive when they're feeling uncertain as a coping mechanism instead of running away. So your German Shepherd puppy is much more likely to hack them up.